and welcome back to South African Homesteader. Today our topic is going to be tomatoes. I've often been asked what is the difference between all these varieties that you are planting, and with tomatoes you have different. I have done a video on this before, but you get various types of tomatoes. You get heirloom tomatoes, which is what I like to plant and grow, and you get your hybrid tomatoes. Now the tomatoes that you get in the stores, they are hybridized tomatoes. They have been specifically grown for example, their resistance to disease, their resistance to heat, the thickness of the skin, and the perfect round shapes and red color. So all the best qualities of certain tomatoes have been bred for those qualities. With heirloom tomatoes, in order for a tomato to qualify as being an heirloom, it has to have been grown for 50 years or plus. Some people say 100 years, but the accepted time frame is 50 years is the accepted time frame for an heirloom to be classified as an heirloom tomato. Now there are about 15,000 heirloom tomatoes, and in South Africa where I live, many people are not aware that tomatoes has such a wide span of varieties, flavors, textures, colors, meatiness, juiciness, and shapes. So for example, this year I will be showing you the tomatoes that I have seeded, and these are the tomatoes that I've seeded. So these are the seedlings that I planted on the 17th of July. I planted 22 varieties of tomatoes, and these are the seedlings that have now come up. And you can see here some of them are getting their true leaves, and they are not leggy at all because I have been putting them outside during the day. Our days are usually warm, but I bring them in at night so that they don't die in the cold. Now the varieties that I planted is clear pink, banana legs, Cherokee purple, black beauty, copia, black icicle, tigerilla, black prince, Dagmas perfection, dark galaxy, scatolone, blue beauty, costalito, genovese, oxheart, roma, cherry tomatoes, and then saved seed that I had from one of my tomatoes that I purchased. I also planted the black and green cherry, yellow pear cherry. I planted tomatoes, and I seeded some pineapple tomato and some Kellogg's breakfast. And these I have 160, between 160 and 170 seedlings that have come up. And then I'm also going to be speaking a little bit about the different types of tomatoes. So tomatoes come in various colors. They come in red, they come in orange, they come in green tomatoes. When it's ripe, it's green. You get purple tomatoes, you get black tomatoes, you get striped tomatoes. So the excitement for me is in growing all these different types of tomatoes, and then seeing how it looks when it's ripe, and then also tasting how different each variety actually tastes. So with the varieties that I have decided to grow this year, I have decided to include many black tomatoes. For example, the Black Beauty, the Black Prince, the Blue Beauty tomatoes, and It's going to be so exciting when these tomato plants actually grow and have the flowers pollinated and then the little tomatoes grow, so that I can show you once the tomatoes are ripe what it actually looks like and how it tastes. I will be doing a taste test once of each tomato type, or of as many as I can of these tomato types, and then I will be telling you which I would recommend for you as a home gardener to grow. Heirloom tomatoes are a lot more difficult to grow than your standard tomatoes. You get different types of tomatoes. You get your cherry tomatoes, you get your Roma tomatoes, which are your paste tomatoes that you can make tomato paste with. You get your slicer tomatoes, those are the ones to use for burgers and for sandwiches, etc. Then you get tomatoes that has more tart flavor, which is more sour. You get tomatoes which is very sweet. You get some tomatoes which have a fruity flavor, some have a smoky flavor. The black creme apparently, which is one of the varieties that I didn't get a hold of this year, but it does have a very nice smoky flavor. I grew it last year. Here's a picture of it. And I had only a few come off the tree because they were stressed because of the move. But I am growing Cherokee Purple this year again, which is one of the best tasting tomatoes. And my reason for doing these tomato videos is because I really want my community to learn more about tomatoes, because the tomatoes that you buy in the shop, I absolutely shop bought tomatoes just doesn't do it for me right now. I have become used to growing these beautiful tomatoes, which is got these unique flavors, these unique shapes, and there is such a lot. I mean, I could make 20 videos about tomatoes and still not cover enough about tomatoes. So let's get into this video and let's tell you a little bit about each tomato. So this is the clear pink. It's a beautiful pink tomato and it's determinate. This is a banana leg tomato, and it's one of the tomatoes I grew last year that I'm holding here. It's also clear why it's called banana legs. So this is an example of the Cherokee Purple, and you can see the beautiful purple hue. It's greeny purple at the top of the tomato, and in the inside of the tomato is quite fleshy and sweet and lovely. This is an example of the Black Beauty, which is the first time that I'm growing this tomato, and it's one of the tomatoes I'm super excited about. This is the Copier tomato that I will be growing, also the first time, and it's actually a stabilized cross between the green zebra and the marble stripe. So although it's not an heirloom, you can still save the seeds as it is stable. So these are just a few examples of the tomatoes that I will be growing. The video will be too long if I must put an example of each one. But I hope this gives you an idea of the variety of tomatoes that is available to us in the heirlooms and the stabilized hybridized tomato varieties. So one definitely has to be more careful when growing your heirloom tomatoes, because they have a tendency to split. These shapes aren't always the most beautiful shapes, and that's beautiful because it's natural. It's not a hybrid. It wasn't grown to be, it wasn't hybridized to have these perfect round shapes. So you have different shapes of these tomatoes. I grow organically, so I do not spray with any chemicals, so it's also more difficult to keep the pests away. I find that I pick off a lot of the pests, and a lot of the times when I see the little ladybugs come, then I know that they are there to help me, and they will go it along. You do get some cracking in the heirloom tomatoes, so as the season goes on, I will be showing you when cracking occurs. A lot of these things can be eliminated by watering regularly on a constant sort of timetable, not to let them dry out too much and then to you know, sort of put too much water on at one time, but to just give them constant regular water so that it has a constant supply of water, but not too much and not too little. So you have to find that balance. But I always say that the best teacher of growing anything is to actually practically do it. So you will find out for yourself that if a lot of people use the drip irrigation, which I do not currently. At the moment I'm not equipped. I don't know how we are going to be as the season progresses and we plant, if we are going to be equipped with the drip irrigation, but we will be trying to give them regular waterings at regular intervals so that we don't have these tomatoes splitting, so that we can have these beautiful heirlooms that I can show you. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. I hope that you found this video interesting and informative. So from me, Heirloom, at South African Homesteader, until next time.